Hey guys, turn off the lights, pull up your blanket, and close your eyes. Because tonight, we're not going on a trip or watching a movie. We're stepping straight into a world where time seems to stand still. There's a secret buried deep beneath the sands of time that only the ancient walls know. A rumor whispered behind your back that in a distant place, there are people who have mastered even the most brutal forces of nature. Have you ever wondered how to survive in a desert where death lurks behind every dune? How to find an oasis just by listening to the wind, or tame a fierce sandstorm with nothing but a piece of cloth? Tonight, you'll hear a story so real you'll feel like you're there, feeling every grain of sand on your skin, hearing every tale whispered by the firelight. This isn't just a video, this is an adventure for the soul. So where are you listening to this story from? No matter where you are, drop a comment below and let us know. And while you're at it, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to give us the motivation to bring you even more incredible stories.
You've been warned. You've seen the movies, but you have never truly felt this heat. It is not the kind of warmth that simply makes you perspire. No, this is a heat that steals your breath, that robs you of your senses and begins to unravel your very sense of self. The air itself feels angry, a thick, shimmering curtain of pure energy that burns your lungs with every desperate inhale. You arrived here with the naive assumption that your vacation in the tropics was hot, that you understood what dry meant. But the ground beneath your feet is not just sand. It is a searing griddle, a molten surface that radiates heat up through the soles of your shoes. This is the kind of heat that makes the leather on your boots feel soft and pliable, threatening to melt them into a sticky, useless puddle. Your skin feels like it's being slow roasted over an unseen fire, the tiny beads of sweat evaporating in an instant, a constant, cruel cycle of moisture loss. Your throat is no longer just dry. It is a sandpaper highway, a barren wasteland that begs for a single drop of water. This is not a film. This is not a special effect. This is real. This is your reality now. The desert is not just a place. It is a living, breathing, ancient entity, a vengeful God with a relentless appetite and a memory that stretches back to the dawn of time itself. It is not an enemy to be defeated, but a landlord to be respected. And you are just a tenant, a very small, very insignificant tenant who has forgotten the most basic rules of survival. Your mind, the mind of a city dweller accustomed to 100 modern comforts, is screaming for release. You yearn for the cold, sterile air of an office or the comforting hum of a refrigerator. But here, there is no hum. There is only the low, silent roar of a sun that has no mercy, a sun that demands tribute in the form of your energy and your will. This heat is hotter than 100 jealous lovers, more oppressive than any concrete jungle you've ever known. What you call a challenge, what you believe to be a test of endurance, the Bedouin call a typical Tuesday. You came here with a mission to conquer, to tick off another box on your adventure list. But you are about to discover that survival is not a race. It is a silent ballet, a performance of patience and quiet strength. The desert is a fortress, and you, with your water bottle and a vague sense of direction, are armed with nothing but a child's toy. To run from it is to sign your own death warrant. Every wasted motion, every frantic step is a precious drop of water lost forever. This is not about speed. It is about stillness. It is about learning to accept and embrace the relentless rules of the game.
You take a single laborious step. Your legs feel like they are filled with molten lead, each movement a Herculean effort. Your throat is a desert within itself, a millennium of drought with no end in sight. You are fighting a losing battle, and somewhere deep inside, you know it. The silence around you is not the absence of sound. It is a physical presence, a weight on your shoulders. The only noises are the frantic, hurried rhythm of your own heart and the hushed whisper of the wind, a sound both lonely and ancient. And then, through the shimmering heat haze, you see them, a group of Bedouins moving with an eerie, unhurried grace. They are not running. They are not even walking fast. They are drifting, a line of dark figures gliding over the dunes like ghosts in the twilight. You, the tourist in your shorts and t-shirt, are a beacon of modern foolishness. They are a monument of ancient wisdom. Every movement they make is a statement, a declaration that survival is a dance, not a battle. You watch one of the elders among them raise a hand, not to shield his eyes from the sun, but to point. He looks at the shadow cast by a small rock, a jagged piece of stone half buried in the sand. He doesn't need a digital watch to tell the time. He has the sun itself, a clock that has been running since the dawn of time. He knows when to move, when to rest, when to seek shelter. His knowledge is not gleaned from a book or an app. It is etched into his very being, passed down through generations. Every deliberate motion he makes is a testament to a connection with the land that you cannot even begin to comprehend. His knowledge is a whisper on the wind, a secret passed down from one generation to the next. And you, with all of your technology and all of your modern comfort, are completely and utterly lost. The gaze of a tourist, your gaze, is fixed on their clothing. Your every instinct screams, shed the layers, get out of that heat. But they are draped in thick, voluminous, flowing black robes. Black, in a heat that could bake a boulder. It defies every single rule of logic you have ever known. The sun bakes your bare skin, a painful and constant reminder of your own ignorance. But they, these ghosts in black, are calm. They are not sweating, or if they are, you cannot see it. The heat shimmers around them, but they glide through it, the masters of this brutal land. And you realize in that single gut-wrenching moment that the first secret of the desert is not about fighting the heat, but about becoming a part of it. They did not fight the desert. They became the desert, and you will soon understand why. You saw them. You saw the dark robes, and your modern mind, the mind of a tourist, screamed a single word: madness. Black absorbs heat. They are literally baking themselves alive. This is what every logic-bound mind in the world would assume. This is what you are taught in every science class, a fundamental truth of physics. But you're wrong. You're looking at it all wrong. Because this isn't clothing. This is a mobile climate control system, a fortress woven from wool and ancient wisdom. The secret isn't about being cool. The secret is about managing the heat, about using the sun's own power against itself. This is your first true lesson in the desert's code. So go ahead, keep your shorts and your t-shirt on, but stay inside. Don't you dare go out there. Not yet. Not until you understand. Your first instinct, the one you brought with you from the city, is to shed layers, to let your skin breathe. This is a fatal misconception, a misunderstanding of the most brutal kind. Their loose, flowing robes are designed never to touch their skin. It creates a pocket of air, a tiny,
personal air conditioning unit that surrounds them. Think of it as a walking, air-filled moat between their body and the sun's merciless gaze. You, the tourist, are exposed, your skin a target. They are the architects of their own personal microclimate. It's a design perfected over 1,000 years, not by some fancy, expensive lab, but by the ultimate test: survival in an environment that kills without remorse. Think of your thermos flask, that double-walled vessel you use to keep your coffee hot and your water cold. There's a vacuum between the two layers of material, a perfect buffer against the outside world. Their clothing operates on the same precise principle. They've turned their bodies into a walking thermos, a masterpiece of self-preservation. You can feel the failure of the thin cotton t-shirt you're wearing. It clings to your back, soaked in sweat. It doesn't breathe. It only traps the heat, a hot, wet blanket you can't escape. You are trapped in a self-made sauna, while the dark figures glide by serenely and unbothered. The feeling of helplessness is a heavy stone in your stomach. You imagined your shorts would bring you freedom, but you are shackled by your own ignorance, while they are liberated by their fabric. The juxtaposition is so stark, so illogical, that you almost can't believe your eyes.
But what about the color? It's black. The very color you were taught to avoid at all costs on a hot day. This is where the real, elegant magic happens. It's a color that most people fear, but the Bedouins embrace it. They say that the fabric is woven with a quiet kind of magic, a secret known only to the children of the desert. The black outer layer absorbs the sun's energy, yes. It gets hotter, much hotter than a white robe would. But that heat doesn't make it to their skin. The inner air pocket, that clever little moat, insulates them perfectly. And then that superheated outer layer acts like a chimney, creating a tiny draft that pulls the air and sweat away from their body. A continuous cooling breeze that works even when there is no wind to speak of. The black fabric is not a jailer that traps the heat. It is a brilliant, cunning rebel that harnesses it, that uses the very power of the sun to cool them down. It's a counterintuitive masterpiece, a scientific revenge on the rules you thought you knew. One layer of fabric is a liability. Multiple layers? That is a system. The Bedouins often wear a light linen layer against their skin, a gentle whisper of a shirt, beneath a thick outer cloak of wool. These layers work in perfect harmony, a coordinated team where each layer has a specific job. The inner layer wicks away moisture, a quiet, efficient servant. The outer layer, a thick, heavy shield, protects them from the sun's vicious UV rays and minimizes water loss. This is not just a set of clothes. This is a survival suit designed by Mother Nature herself. Every bead of your sweat is a tear of pure gold in this environment, a vital resource that must be conserved at all costs. Their full-body coverings are a sophisticated dam, trapping this sweat, preventing it from evaporating too quickly. And when you conserve sweat, you conserve life. You cannot simply fight the sun. You must use its energy against itself. It's a beautiful, humbling, and intelligent kind of scientific revenge.
So I ask you, have you ever once considered that to survive the desert, you should not undress, but instead pile on more clothes? You are a believer in modern performance fabrics and moisture-wicking technology. They are believers in the old ways, in wool and linen, in a wisdom that predates your entire civilization. This isn't about tradition for tradition's sake. This is about lethal precision. This isn't about fashion. This is about survival. And what about that headscarf, the one you think of as a quaint accessory, the keffiyeh? It's not just for sun protection. It's a mobile, personal air purifier. It's often dampened with a small amount of precious water, and as they breathe through it, it humidifies the dry, hot air, protecting their lungs from the choking heat and dust that would tear your lungs to shreds. It's a simple, elegant tool with a powerful, life-saving purpose. The keffiyeh is their final shield, their last line of defense against an environment that has no sympathy. You have your armor now. You have learned how to become one with the sun. But as the first gusts of the evening wind begin to rise, you'll realize the desert holds other secrets. A profound sense of peace, a quiet warmth, and a place to call home, woven from those very same threads. The children of the desert say their home is a masterpiece too, a place where you will soon find stillness, and you will soon understand why.
You've got your armor now, your personal climate control system woven from the secrets of the sun. But the day's fire is a fickle friend. As the sun dips below the horizon, the desert becomes a black mirror of the sky, and a new kind of terror descends. The cold. The cold here isn't the kind you know from a city winter, a lazy, bundled-up affair. This is a cold that cuts, a cold that seeps into your bones and finds every empty space in your soul. It's the cold of pure emptiness, a reminder that this world doesn't care if you live or die. You think of your house as a fortress of brick and mortar, a place where you can close the door and the outside world simply ceases to exist. But here, the world never vanishes. It becomes part of the home, part of the life. And the Bedouins? They don't fight the cold. They embrace it. They turn it into an ally. You think of a home as a permanent fixture, an anchor in the storm of modern life, a place with a foundation that never moves. The Bedouins think differently. Their home is not a place, it's an idea. It is something that can be rolled up, strapped to the back of a camel, and pitched again anywhere they choose. It is a mobile fortress, a tent woven from the hair of goats. And in your hands, the hands of a person used to expensive, high-tech fabric, you might think it's just a rough, simple piece of cloth. But in the hands of the Bedouin, it is a masterpiece of engineering. You touch the fabric, feeling its coarseness, but also a strange, quiet warmth. It feels unlike anything you've ever known. Some say it's woven with a silent kind of magic, a secret known only to the desert's own children. This material is alive, a self-regulating system that doesn't need electricity or a single button to operate. When the sun is high and the air is hot, the goat hair fibers relax and expand. This creates tiny, microscopic holes in the fabric, an invisible network of vents that allow air to circulate freely. It's like a natural cooling system, a whisper of a breeze that keeps the inside of the tent cool and comfortable, a sanctuary from the relentless sun.
It's a breathable house. But what happens when the scorching sun gives way to the first drops of rain, a rare but violent gift from the sky? The goat hair, that magical material, has an answer. The rain here isn't a gentle shower. It comes suddenly and ferociously, a curtain of water and sand, You panic, but the Bedouins are calm. And then you see the wonder. The individual goat hairs, as if they have a mind of their own, automatically swell and tighten, sealing those microscopic holes and creating a perfect waterproof barrier. The tent becomes a perfect shield against the storm, an umbrella woven from an ancient wisdom. It's an automated system, a house that knows when to breathe and when to seal itself off. Your home has a thermostat. Their home has a mind of its own. It's an elegant, simple solution to a complex problem, a testament to the power of observation and patience. It knows what to do without being told. The genius doesn't stop at the fabric. It extends to the very design of the tent. It's often constructed with 2 layers, a double-walled fortress that is a testament to their deep understanding of the desert's character. You step inside, and the juxtaposition is immediate. Outside, there is a suffocating heat. Inside, a strange, profound coolness. At night, when the cold bites, the tent is miraculously warm. You realize that they don't fight the heat or the cold. They have learned to use them, much like a martial artist uses their opponent's own force against them. The inner wall, made of a lighter material, traps and holds warmth. The outer wall, the dark goat hair, reflects the sun's blinding glare. The heat is trapped in the space between the layers, a protective barrier that keeps the inside cool during the day and surprisingly warm at night. It is a design that whispers a profound truth. The key to survival is not to fight the environment, but to work with it, to harness its contradictions. And the location? It's not chosen at random. They are masters of the terrain, cartographers of an unseen world. You watch as an elder Bedouin walks around a large rock formation. He isn't looking at a map. He's looking at the cracks in the stone, the direction of the wind, the subtle prints left in the sand. He isn't just choosing a place to pitch a tent. He is finding a friend in the landscape. He finds a spot that offers refuge from the brutal sandstorms and avoids the frost that settles in low-lying areas at night. They aren't just building a home. They are creating a symbiosis with the desert.
And then there is the cooling system, a technology far more effective and beautiful than any machine you've ever owned. In the morning, as the sun rises, you feel a gentle, cool breeze on your face. It's not the wind. It's the moisture from the very fabric itself which absorbed the evening's humidity. As the sun's heat begins to beat down, that moisture evaporates, creating a natural, cooling draft. You close your eyes, and for a moment, it feels like you are in a small, hidden garden, not a desert. It's a perpetual cycle, a beautiful symphony of heat and moisture, a house that breathes and sweats just like the people inside it. Your house might have air conditioning, but it can't move. Their house can. It is flexible and adaptable, a marvel of engineering that can't be found in any modern catalog. The inside of the tent is a work of art, a small kingdom of organized efficiency. It's divided into 2 parts by a simple woven screen. One side is for the men and guests, a place for conversation and hospitality. The other side is for the women and children, a sanctuary of family and privacy. There are no brick walls, no locked doors, but there is a profound sense of order and respect. It is a powerful reminder that a home is not defined by its walls,
but by the people within it and the rules that bind them. You realize that a house is not about the walls. It is about the rules of respect, of humanity. So I ask you, is comfort a fixed house, a permanent structure with a climate controlled by a machine? Or is it the ability to adapt to any circumstance, to carry your home and your peace with you wherever you go? You've got a wonderful home now, but what happens when you have to leave it? You wouldn't think of going out for a jog in the midday heat, would you?
You want to go for a jog at noon just to hit your 10,000 steps on your phone's app? You want to work through your lunch break, an act you consider to be modern martyrdom. In the desert, that's not a badge of honor. It's an invitation to the grave. It's a fatal misunderstanding of the world you're standing in. There is a secret about the desert. The most precious time isn't noon, but sunrise. The main event doesn't happen during the day's peak, but in the tender hours of the early morning and the forgiving coolness after the sun has set. Midday, you have one single job: to do absolutely nothing. You are a human battery, and the desert is a cruel, relentless charger trying to drain you of every last ounce of your energy. Your only hope is to stay unplugged, to refuse the call to action, to embrace the quiet stillness that is the only law of the desert noon. You must become a shadow, a whisper in the silent, burning hours. You run at 10 a.m. to stay in shape, a ritual you hold sacred. Here, that's a mistake that could cost you everything. You're facing a new reality, a schedule with no room for your modern habits, your fitness trackers, your endless need for productivity. You look at your watch, a tiny machine that measures every second, and you realize it is bitterly useless here. The real clock is the sun, and it doesn't care about your goals. Here, time isn't a diamond, it's breath. Every single breath is a finite resource. Every minute you spend active under the sun's savage gaze is a minute you're trading for water, for strength, for your very chance at survival. You are not building a career. You are trying to stay alive. This isn't a life to be lived. This is a game to be survived. And the rules are brutal, unforgiving, and written in the scorching sand. You have to learn to play by them, or you will simply cease to exist. The desert, you see, is a god of patience. It will wait for you to make a mistake.
A Bedouin day doesn't have 24 hours. It has 2 golden windows. One in the early morning, a sacred time before the world wakes up, and another in the cool, blessed hours of the evening. This is when all the important work gets done. You see them in the pre-dawn darkness as the last stars wink out, the celestial jewels winking out one by one. The air is still cold from the night, a crisp, clean breath of relief that smells of dust and ancient stones. The sun is just a gentle, warm promise on the horizon, not the angry furnace it will soon become. This is the time for hunting, for moving camp, for seeking out water. You watch as they work with a quiet, practiced efficiency, each movement a part of a choreographed dance. They roll up their tents with a silent grace, folding the goat hair fabric that protected them through the night. The camels, roused from their sleep, let out low groans, their long shadows stretching across the sand. The only sounds are the soft rustle of cloth, the creak of leather, and the whisper of footsteps on the cool sand. It's a beautiful, quiet sprint against a clock that you can't see but can feel in your very bones,
a desperate dance with the coming heat. It's an elegant performance with the environment, a perfect rhythm of life, a ballet of survival. And then comes noon. Oh, noon. You've heard of the midday sun. You've felt its lazy warmth on your face on a hot summer day at home. But the desert midday is a different beast entirely. It's a forge, a foundry built by a malicious god. The sand can get as hot as a blistering 160 degrees Fahrenheit, hot enough to cook an egg, hot enough to melt the rubber soles of your shoes. The air shimmers, a physical manifestation of the anger of the heat, a living mirage that dances on the horizon. A heavy silence descends, a stillness that is not peaceful but oppressive, a suffocating blanket of quiet. Even thinking can make you sweat. This is not a place for activity. It is a place for stillness. From late morning until late afternoon, the desert becomes a giant oven, and you are the dinner. A single moment of carelessness, a single unnecessary motion can be the last mistake you ever make. The sun is not just shining, it is hunting.
In the hottest hours, the Bedouins stop everything. The world pauses. They don't move. They don't talk. They've become statues, monuments to the art of patience. Sometimes they don't even eat, knowing that digestion would only generate more heat and consume precious energy. They lay in the shade of their goat hair tents, their heart rate and breathing slowing to a crawl. You, with your restless modern mind, feel your own body screaming for action, for movement, for a distraction. You try to get up, just to walk a few feet to adjust your position, and the elder Bedouin, a man whose face is as cracked as the desert floor, sees you. He doesn't say a word. He simply points a weathered finger to the deepest part of the shade, then touches a finger to his own lips. It is a lesson in humility and survival, delivered without a single word. You obey, settling back down. You close your eyes and listen to the stillness, the quiet roar of the sun. The only sound is the frantic beating of your own heart. They have mastered the art of doing nothing, the profound peace that comes from complete stillness. They are a living lesson in the power of a quiet, unmoving mind. They are a part of the stillness, a silent rebellion against the tyranny of the sun. They know that sometimes, to win, you have to surrender completely. Then, as the sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in a furious blaze of orange and red, the desert awakens once more. This is when life truly begins. This is their reward for surviving the day, a gift from the sky for their obedience. The air cools, a deep, immediate relief. A gentle breeze, a cool caress whispers across your face. They eat their main meal, a feast of gratitude and survival, a celebration of another day won. The smell of stewed goat and freshly baked flatbread fills the air, a scent that is both earthy and heavenly. They move to a new location, their silent camels carrying their worldly possessions, their footprints disappearing behind them as if they were never there. They share stories, their voices a soft murmur in the cold, clear air. It's a second act, a beautiful, peaceful epilogue to a day of relentless battle. It's a powerful reminder that there is beauty to be found even in the most brutal of worlds. Think of it this way. Just as you sleep to recover from a long day of work,
The Bedouins have their own kind of slumber, a waking sleep that allows them to recover from the sun's attack. It's a deep, profound rest that allows their bodies to heal and their minds to reset. It's a quiet strength, a wisdom that we, in our loud, busy lives, have completely forgotten. We think rest is a luxury. They know it's a necessity. We think we can outrun time. They know time is a river that flows at its own pace, and you must learn to swim with the current, not against it. So I ask you, do you have the patience to sit still all day, just waiting for the heat to pass? Could you abandon your need for constant activity, for constant movement, just for the sake of survival? It's a lesson that we, with our endless ambition and relentless drive, desperately need to learn. A lesson the Bedouins learned thousands of years ago, a lesson of humility. Now you have your schedule, a new rhythm to your life, dictated not by a meeting calendar, but by the sun itself. You've learned how to rest, but how do you move? How do you travel across this unforgiving land? A car is useless, a delicate machine that would fail in the sand. Your own 2 feet, a joke, a march toward exhaustion and dehydration. You need a partner, a legend, a ship of the desert, a friend who will appear when you least expect it, a friend who will be revealed on the next journey.
You think a camel is just a lumbering desert taxi? A slow, wobbly pack animal with a permanent scowl? You're not alone. Most of us see them as a curiosity, a symbol on a postcard. You've probably seen them at the zoo behind a fence, looking bored and out of place, but you're about to have your mind blown. In the desert, they aren't just pets, they're partners. They're our navigation system. They are, in every single way, our silent superheroes. It is said that they know how to find water where you only see sand. They can walk for weeks without a single sip. And when a camel starts panting, that's not just a sign of fatigue. It's the desert's first, most urgent whisper of trouble. It's the Bedouin's early warning system, a living alarm clock that says, "Stop, now, or we all die." This creature, so often misunderstood, is the very anchor of life in this brutal, beautiful world. You get your first real feel for them early one morning, as the cool air still hangs heavy and crisp. The first impression is their size. You've seen them from afar, but standing next to one, you are struck by its sheer scale. Its thick, woolly fur feels unexpectedly soft and warm. The air is filled with the low, guttural groans of the other camels as they are roused from their sleep, their long shadows stretching across the sand. The Bedouin, with a quiet, practiced efficiency, begin to prepare the camp for the day's journey. They speak to the camels in soft tones, a quiet, soothing language of trust. It's a rhythmic, graceful ballet of packing and preparation. They fold their goat hair tents, the very fabric that shielded them from the sun's wrath and the night's cold. You watch as they gently but firmly tie your meager belongings to Al-Gadir, the camel you will be riding. He looks at you with a calm, ancient eye, and you feel an almost instant sense of trust, a bond forming before you've even climbed aboard. In our world, knowledge is power. In the desert, a camel's knowledge is life itself.
It is said that they carry within them a spiritual map, a miraculous memory that charts every trail, every ancient well, every hidden oasis for years. They are the Bedouins' natural GPS system, a biological compass that never fails. You can have the most advanced technology in your pocket, but it's useless here. Its batteries will die, its signal will fade, and it will give you nothing but a blank screen. A camel, however, remembers the way home even in a raging sandstorm, when the entire world is reduced to a swirling chaos of grit and fury. They are the living encyclopedia of a world that is trying to erase itself with every gust of wind. A memory written not on paper, but on the very soul of the animal.
You get to experience this firsthand. After a long morning of travel, the dunes all start to look the same, a monotonous sea of golden waves. You pull out your phone, but the screen is blank. You feel a cold wave of panic, a hollow knot in your stomach. The Bedouin elder leading you, a man named Suleiman, sees your distress. He smiles a little, a knowing wrinkle in his face, and simply pats the neck of his camel, Al-Gadir. Suleiman points to a tiny, almost imperceptible dip in the sand. Al-Gadir immediately turns, begins to walk toward it, and sure enough, you see the faint, barely visible trail of an old wadi, a dried riverbed. The camel found it not with its eyes, but with an ancient, perfect instinct. The technology in your pocket is a toy. The camel's memory is a key to life itself. Their ability to survive is not a magic trick. It's an elegant, perfect biological design. You've heard they store water in their humps, right? A common misconception. The hump is pure, concentrated fat, a reservoir of energy for lean times. A camel's real secret lies in its blood, its kidneys, and its magic belly. They can endure a 25% loss of body weight from dehydration, a feat that would kill any human. But for a camel, it's just another day at the office. Their blood cells are like tiny, oval-shaped ships that can flow more easily through their veins even when the blood thickens with dehydration. Their kidneys are like perfect water recycling factories, so efficient they can produce highly concentrated urine to conserve every precious drop. And they can rehydrate incredibly fast, drinking up to 40 gallons of water in minutes, a process that would shock a human body into cardiac arrest. This isn't just a survival mechanism, it's an evolutionary masterpiece, a biological symphony. These ships of the desert are so much more than just transportation. They are a one-stop shop for survival. They are a walking pharmacy, a moving pantry. Their milk, a rich, nutritious, and hydrating beverage, is a staple of the Bedouin diet, a lifeline in a world without refrigerators. You taste it for the first time, a tangy, slightly salty liquid that is surprisingly refreshing, a stark contrast to the sterile bottled water you're used to. The camel's hair is a gift from the heavens, a thick, insulating fiber used to weave the very tents that provide shelter from the scorching sun and the biting cold of the night. Even their dung, a dry, odorless gift, can be used as a clean burning fuel, a tiny campfire that provides warmth and a place to cook. Every part of this animal is a key to survival. Every part of it is a blessing.
The relationship you build with a camel isn't that of an owner and a pet. It's a bond of mutual respect, a deep, silent understanding. A camel isn't an animal you command. It's a family member you confide in. The Bedouins speak to their camels in soft tones, a quiet, soothing language of trust. You watch Suleiman with his camel, running a hand gently over its neck, whispering to it as if it were a long-lost friend. He tells you a story of a young man who was lost in a sandstorm. The man's camel, injured in the storm, still managed to drag him to safety, collapsing only after it had reached the shelter of an oasis. The camel didn't abandon its rider, not for a second. The bond is not earned with a treat, but with a lifetime of trust, a deep-seated connection that whispers across the vastness of the sand. You might think camels are timid, docile creatures, but you've never seen one face a sandstorm. You've never felt the sheer will and power of one as it plows through a wall of wind and sand, its eyelashes and nostrils designed to protect it from the swirling assault. You've never seen them cross treacherous, steep dunes, their wide, padded feet providing a stability that defies logic. They are heroes in their own right, courageous and resolute. In the pitch black of a moonless night, when you are lost and your compass is just a useless piece of metal, a camel's instincts will guide you home. They will navigate by some ancient invisible star map, a wisdom passed down through generations. They are a monument to quiet bravery.
Contrast the camel with the horse, a creature so beloved in so many other civilizations. The horse, a symbol of power and war, a creature of speed and fire, is a tool for conquest. It represents a world of conflict and ambition, of charging into battle. The camel, a creature of patience and endurance, is a symbol of survival. It represents a world of quiet strength and humility, of enduring a challenge. The horse is about what you can take from the world. The camel is about how you can survive within it. One is a weapon, a testament to human pride. The other is a partner, a testament to human humility. So I ask you, without these living superheroes, could the Bedouin have survived? Could they have thrived? Could they have built a culture that has endured for thousands of years? The answer is a resounding, definitive no. These aren't just animals. They are the very foundation of desert life, a secret whispered from the sand itself. You've learned the schedule of a survivor. You've found your silent companion. You've tasted their milk and felt the warmth of their hair. But on these long, silent journeys, what will you eat to sustain yourself? The answer lies not in a feast, but in a strategic meal. A meal that you will soon realize is more important than pure gold. A meal that is both a blessing and a necessity. A friend who will appear when you least expect it. A friend who will be revealed in the next story. You think a meal is just about satisfying hunger. You think it's a moment of pleasure, a chance to grab your favorite comfort food and binge-watch something on your phone. With the Bedouin, you're about to learn that a meal is not an indulgence. It's a battlefield, a chess game of pure survival. Every single morsel you consume is a move on the board, a pawn, a knight, a queen. Every bite could be a step closer to victory or a slow, agonizing death. The wrong food is a poison here. A meal is not a feast, it is a strategic strike, a calculated act of defiance against a world that is actively trying to kill you with 1,000 little cuts. You'll find no fine dining here,
No sprawling menus or lavish spreads. The desert, you see, is a minimalist chef. Its restaurants have no walls, and its menu is a short, terrifying list of what won't send you to the grave. This is the 5-star menu of the desert, and every single dish is a testament to survival. The main course, the true heart of the Bedouin diet, is a tiny, unassuming superstar, the date. Forget your protein bars and your sugary energy drinks. A date is a concentrated sphere of pure, unadulterated energy. It's a miracle of nature, a small, wrinkled orb of power. These aren't just snacks. They are the Bedouin's energy candy, a compact, sweet grenade of glucose, fiber, and essential minerals that allows them to move for miles on end without stopping. You pop one in your mouth, and it's a burst of sweetness, a sudden welcome shock of flavor that reminds you of home. The first bite is a firm, dry exterior that gives way to a soft, almost honey-like interior. The sweetness is deep and complex, not the shallow, artificial taste of candy, but the rich, ancient sweetness of concentrated fruit. It's a rush of sustained energy that doesn't come with the sugar crash you're used to. A single handful can sustain you for hours. It's a delicious, life-saving carbohydrate bomb, a small and humble source of power that fuels their ancient way of life. The Bedouin eat them slowly, deliberately, as if savoring not just the taste, but the very sustenance it provides. This isn't food. This is an engine. It is the steady, reliable heartbeat of a long desert journey.
And what about a drink? You've already tasted the magic of camel's milk, and here it's not a side dish. It's the entire meal. It is a superfood smoothie in a simple, humble shell. Rich in fat, protein, and vitamins, it's a nutritional whirlwind that packs an entire meal's worth of sustenance into a single glass. But its most powerful secret? It doesn't dehydrate you. Unlike cow's milk, which our modern bodies are used to, camel's milk has a unique composition that makes it incredibly hydrating. Its molecular structure and lower lactose content make it easier for the body to absorb without pulling vital water from your system. You take your first real drink, and the milk is surprisingly cool, even though it's been in a goatskin flask all day. It's a tangy, slightly salty liquid that goes down smooth and leaves you feeling surprisingly full and refreshed. It's a liquid lifeline, a walking, talking vending machine that follows you across the sand, a blessing, a gift from the silent, patient creature that is your partner in this journey. But what about when the dates and milk aren't enough? What about the real hard energy needed for days of grueling travel? The secret lies in a source of power we've all been taught to avoid: animal fat. The Bedouin don't eat meat often. Meat is a precious commodity, a rare feast saved for special occasions. But when they do, they leave nothing behind. They scrape every last bit of animal fat, a congealed yellow-white blob that you, with your modern sensibilities, would find disgusting. Your Bedouin guide, Suleiman, offers you a small piece. You hesitate, repulsed by its slick, gelatinous appearance. But he insists, and you take a tentative bite. It's surprisingly flavorless at first, then a rich, savory taste floods your mouth, a pure, clean flavor of concentrated energy. It's the slow-burning coal that keeps the furnace of the body going, a dense fuel source that burns for hours on end, a gift of pure, unadulterated power. They eat it in small, deliberate bites, a testament to its value and a profound respect for the animal that provided it. Every calorie is a victory, and every victory must be savored. The Bedouin have a simple, scientific rule for eating. The objective is to eat in a way that doesn't make your body sweat.
You, in your old life, would have craved a hot, steaming bowl of noodle soup in the midday heat. The Bedouin, however, will look at you like you're an absolute madman. You'd be better off just standing in the sun naked and waiting to die. They avoid anything hot, anything salty, and anything heavy. They eat during the golden windows, in the cool hours of the early morning and the forgiving air of the evening. You learned this the hard way one afternoon. Driven by a modern craving, you try to eat a piece of warm, savory bread you'd been given. The saltiness makes you thirsty, the warmth makes you sweat, and within minutes you feel a terrible lethargy. Suleiman sees your struggle and simply shakes his head, a quiet lesson in humility. He teaches you to eat what is cold, what is hydrating, what is simple. You learn to listen to your body, not your cravings. You learn that sometimes the hunger pangs you feel aren't real. They're just the echo of a life you used to lead. They are an old enemy you must silence. So I have to ask you, can you skip a meal? Most of us can, but can you skip a drink? The Bedouin can go without food for an entire day, sometimes two, but they will never, ever go without water. It is a law as unbreakable as the sun itself. It's not a question of willpower, it's a question of science. Digestion requires water, and in a world where water is more precious than gold, you must choose your battles. They have chosen to fight for every single drop. Food is not just about staying alive. It is a part of the grand survival strategy. It is not a feast. It is a war. A war they have learned to win with a menu of simple, silent, and effective weapons.
While you buy countless supplements and vitamin pills to give your body a boost, the Bedouin get their entire nutritional first aid kit from a handful of dates, a splash of camel's milk, and a sliver of fat. They have no labels, no marketing, no fancy commercials. They have something far more valuable, a profound understanding of what the body needs to survive. This is not just a diet, it's a philosophy. It's a quiet wisdom passed down through generations, a wisdom that whispers, "Eat to live, do not live to eat." You've learned the secrets of their schedule. You've befriended your silent companion. You've mastered the art of the strategic meal. But what about the one resource that matters above all else? The one resource they would trade their lives for? The one thing you, in your old life, took for granted with every turn of a faucet? In the desert, water is not a drink, it is a god. And it is a god that is rarely, if ever, seen. The secret of how they find this liquid gold is a story that is waiting for you in the very next part of this epic journey.
You're thirsty. Your throat is a desert in miniature. Your body screams for something cold, a frosty bottle of water, maybe even a slushie. You crave that instant, temporary relief, that glorious rush of ice-cold liquid. But your Bedouin guide, Suleiman, is doing something that looks completely insane. He's brewing a pot of piping hot tea over a tiny fire. Hot tea in the middle of the desert. It sounds like a death wish, doesn't it? It sounds like the punchline to a terrible joke. But what you are witnessing isn't madness. It's a stroke of pure, unadulterated genius. It's the hot tea paradox, a secret of survival that defies every single thing you've ever learned about quenching thirst. It's a paradox because it feels so fundamentally wrong, so counterintuitive,
Yet it is the single most effective way to stay cool and hydrated in this brutal, unforgiving furnace. The science behind this brilliant madness is surprisingly simple, yet utterly profound. Your body has a built-in thermostat, a part of your brain called the hypothalamus that is constantly monitoring your internal temperature. When you drink something hot, your hypothalamus detects the rise in temperature. It doesn't panic. Instead, it calmly and efficiently kicks your body's natural cooling system into high gear. It signals your blood vessels to dilate, a process called vasodilation, which brings blood closer to the surface of your skin to radiate heat away. More importantly, it activates your millions of sweat glands. In the hot, dry air of the desert, sweat doesn't just sit on your skin. It evaporates instantly, almost before you can even feel the moisture. This process of evaporation is what truly cools you. As the sweat changes from a liquid to a gas, it draws an incredible amount of heat away from your body, cooling you down far more effectively than a glass of cold water ever could. It's a living, breathing air conditioner, a natural marvel that the Bedouin have mastered. It's an internal temperature control system that a team of engineers couldn't have designed better.
The consequence of choosing cold water, as your modern instincts demand, is a tragic and a common mistake. You drink that cold water, and for a glorious, fleeting moment, you feel refreshed. But your body, detecting the sudden drop in temperature, immediately tries to conserve energy. It signals your blood vessels to constrict, a process called vasoconstriction, to trap the heat inside your core. It slows down the sweating process. You are no longer actively cooling yourself. The brief, satisfying chill wears off in a matter of minutes. Your body starts to heat up again, and you find yourself hotter and thirstier than you were before. You've just created a vicious cycle. You used precious, life-giving water for a temporary pleasure, a fleeting comfort that ultimately betrayed you. The Bedouin know this. They understand that immediate comfort is the enemy of long-term survival. And this isn't just any tea. This is a survival elixir. It is a natural electrolyte drink, a homemade Gatorade of the dunes, often brewed with a pinch of salt or infused with local herbs like mint or sage. It helps to replenish the vital minerals you lose through sweat. It's a quiet rebellion against muscle cramps, a soothing sedative against fatigue. It is a powerful boost of electrolytes that your body desperately needs. It doesn't just hydrate you, it fortifies you. It is a tonic, a medicine, a comfort. The Bedouin's tea is a liquid fortress. Think of hot tea as an encouraging friend, a mentor. It doesn't offer you immediate sugary comfort. It doesn't coddle you. Instead, it gives you the gentle nudge you need to push through. It is a subtle kick in the pants to keep you on their toes, a calm reminder that the only way to beat the desert is to work with it, not against it. It's a warm slap on the back that says, "You got this, keep going." It's an act of quiet defiance, a sip of courage. The ritual of drinking this tea is as important as the tea itself. They don't gulp it down. They sip it slowly, deliberately, savoring each tiny, powerful drop. There is no rush, no frantic grabbing for a bottle. Each sip is a strategic move, a conscious act of thermal regulation. It is a meditation.
It is an act of presence. It is a profound, unhurried ceremony of life itself. The tea is not a beverage. It is a ritual, a silent promise to yourself that you will survive. The contrast between our cultures couldn't be more stark. We, in our insulated, air-conditioned world, are addicted to instant gratification. We seek the quickest, easiest solution, the fastest way to feel better. The Bedouin, however, have a wisdom forged in the crucible of thousands of years. They seek efficiency, endurance, and long-term success. They understand that comfort is a dangerous illusion. Their genius comes from not fighting nature, but from becoming a part of it. They have learned to embrace the desert's heat, not as an enemy, but as a partner in survival. Drinking this tea often happens during their brief, precious moments of rest. As you sit in the small circle of shade, the world outside a blinding blaze of light and heat, the warmth of the tea in your hand becomes a comforting anchor. It pairs perfectly with the art of stillness, a silent practice you began to learn in a previous story. It is a time for quiet reflection, for conversation, for simply being. It is a moment of peace in a world of constant, unrelenting struggle. The tea is the final piece of that puzzle, the last perfect note of that quiet symphony of survival. So I ask you, what will you choose? The temporary coolness of a cold drink, or the long-lasting, sustainable comfort of hot tea? The Bedouin's answer has been proven over thousands of years of survival. After the last sip, they carefully pour their remaining water into their skins and prepare to move on, because in the desert, water is not a drink, it is a god, and it is a god that is rarely, if ever, seen. The secret of how they find this liquid gold is a story that is waiting for you in the very next part of this epic journey.
No TV, no phone. The sun, a brutal dictator for 12 hours, has finally gone to sleep, and the desert, with its velvet black sky and its million stars, has come alive. There's a stillness here that is almost deafening. In your old life, this quiet would have been unbearable. It would have felt like a void you needed to fill with noise, with light, with distraction. But here, around the gentle flicker of a fire, this silence is not empty. It is a canvas, and the Bedouin are about to begin painting. This isn't just about passing the time. This is their internet, their news feed, their history book, and their therapist, all in one. This is the story cure, a powerful and ancient ritual that keeps their culture alive and their minds sharp. It's a paradox in itself. The loudest thing in this vast, empty expanse is the human voice, telling a story, giving life to a world that seems to defy it. What is the value of a single human voice when the wind whispers of 1,000 years? Here, that voice is everything. It is a lighthouse in a sea of darkness. The act of telling a story here is not a casual pastime, it's a sacred ritual, a ceremony of remembrance. After a day spent battling the heat, the wind, and the relentless sun, they gather together. Their bodies are tired. Their muscles ache like 1,000 tiny hammers. Their minds are a little fried from the heat, but they are here. They are present. They listen to tales that have been passed down for centuries, a living encyclopedia of a people's journey. There are no fancy special effects, no dramatic camera angles, just the power of the human voice and the warmth of a shared fire. This is a testament to the power of human connection, a simple act that binds them together. You can see the knowledge being transferred in the way an elder's eyes meet a child's, in the silent, knowing nods of the men, in the quiet gasps of the women. The rhythmic rise and fall of the storyteller's voice is the heartbeat of this tribe. This isn't just a story, it's a performance art honed over a lifetime, a living, breathing history lesson. The firelight dances on their faces, each flickering shadow a new character in the epic unfolding. You can almost taste the history on the air, an invisible mist of shared memory.
You think stories are just for entertainment? With them, a story is a living, breathing library. It's their encyclopedia, their GPS, and their survival manual all in one. Every tale is a lesson, a map to a hidden water source, a warning about a patch of quicksand, or a detailed description of a venomous snake. They don't write this information down. They encode it in narrative, in metaphor, in the very fabric of their culture. You don't learn from a textbook here. You learn from a person, a voice, a memory. It's a method of knowledge transfer that is direct, immediate, and utterly unforgettable. A story isn't just words. It's a living teacher, a map, a guide. It might just save your life tomorrow. You hear a story about a wise old woman who found a well by following the flight path of a specific bird, the rare desert eagle that always flies in a straight line towards water at dusk. You hear a tale of a young boy who was saved from a sand viper because he remembered a story his grandfather told him about the snake's habits, how they always coil themselves under the shade of a certain kind of rock during the hottest hours. These are not just anecdotes. They are algorithms of survival, coded in the oldest language there is, the human story. These stories aren't just dry facts and figures. They are characters with souls, wisdom with a heartbeat. They are a living, breathing connection to a history that is not lost in a library, but is alive in the hearts of the people. Through these stories, Bedouin children learn about the history of their tribe, the bravery of their ancestors, and the unwritten laws of the desert. This is how they maintain their identity in a world that is constantly shifting. They don't just know who they are, they feel it in the stories they hear every single night. You get the sense that you're a character in a story that is still being written, a part of a continuous, unbroken chain of history. It's a feeling of belonging that the isolated, individualistic world you came from could never provide. Their identity isn't a selfie, it's a shared memory, a legacy woven from thousands of whispers under a starry sky. This shared history is a shield, a protective force against the isolating emptiness of the desert.
The contrast between their method of information transfer and ours couldn't be more stark. We document everything on a computer, a book, a screen. We have all the information in the world at our fingertips, but we've lost the art of connection. Our digital history is fragile, dependent on servers and electricity, and can be deleted with a single click. Their history is resilient, carried in the minds of the people, and is passed on in the most direct and authentic way possible, unfiltered by the cold, sterile medium of print. They don't just share data, they share a feeling, a memory, a part of themselves. This is not about the quantity of information, but the quality of connection. Our collective knowledge is stored in a cloud, a detached and ethereal thing. Theirs is stored in their souls.
Have you ever sat and listened to a story without a single electronic device to distract you? The Bedouin do this every night. They connect with each other, with their ancestors, and with the desert itself through these powerful narratives. In a world where we are more connected than ever, but feel more alone, they have mastered the art of true connection, a connection that goes beyond a simple social media post. It is a deep, profound, and humbling experience. You realize that the absence of a screen forces a different kind of engagement, a deeper kind of listening. It's an active participation, not a passive consumption. The story is a two-way street, a conversation between the teller and the listener, a shared journey. You aren't just a recipient of information, you are a co-creator, building the world in your mind as the words have spoken.
The heat of the day can wear you down, both physically and mentally. But the stories of the night heal your soul. It's a form of therapy, a spiritual reset. Your mind is a tangled knot of heat and fatigue, but the rhythmic cadence of the storyteller's voice is a gentle hand working to untangle it, to soothe the jagged edges of a hard day. These stories help them to forget the hardships, to release the tension of the day, and to prepare for the challenges of tomorrow. It's a mental massage, a psychological balm that soothes the spirit and renews the will to survive. It's a beautiful, elegant solution to the problem of emotional exhaustion. You feel the cool night air on your skin, the warmth of the fire on your face, and the rhythmic sound of the storyteller's voice. This is a deliberate process of unwinding the mental tension of the day, a process that is both ancient and universal. The stories are a psychological oasis, a place to rest and recover. These stories are a bridge between generations. They are a silent promise, a secret pact. They are passed down from grandparents to grandchildren, creating an invisible thread that links the past, present, and future. It's how they build a strong, resilient community, a family that is more than just blood, a family bound by the shared stories and shared wisdom. This is their legacy. A child isn't just hearing a story, they're inheriting a treasure chest of wisdom and love, a legacy that can't be bought or sold. This is a form of inheritance more valuable than any bank account. You get the sense that you are not just a guest in their world, but a temporary guardian of their stories, a vital part of the circle. So I ask you, what is the value of your history? Is it in a dusty book on a shelf? Or is it alive in the stories you tell and the connections you make? But even with all of this knowledge, with all of this wisdom, you can't fight a sandstorm. It is a living, breathing antagonist, a churning beast of dust and fury. And that, my friend, is when they stop talking and start acting.
A strange, low hum fills the air. It's not a sound you hear with your ears, but a vibration you feel deep in your bones, a premonition of chaos. The horizon, once a razor-sharp line, begins to blur, as if an artist's brush had smudged the edge of the world. The sun, a golden coin in a brilliant sky, starts to dim, swallowed by a strange yellowish-gray mist that seems to have no origin. Every sound you know, the gentle crackle of the fire, the quiet murmur of conversation, the rustle of their clothes, just disappears. It's not silence, it's the absence of sound, a terrifying vacuum that precedes a storm. This is not a coincidence. This is the desert's warning. The sandstorm is coming, a churning beast of dust and fury, a living wall of chaos, advancing across the dunes with the speed of a freight train. You can feel its breath on the back of your neck, a sudden hot gust that smells of pulverized rock and ancient secrets. What do? Do you panic, run, call for help on a phone with no signal? Every instinct you have, every piece of technology you've ever trusted is now screaming at you to do something, anything. But every frantic action, every hurried step, every panicked breath will only drain your precious energy and put you in greater peril. You are a single, fragile ant about to be swept away by an angry ocean of sand. You have never felt so small. You are being asked to do the impossible, to fight a force with no hands, no feet, no face, and to win by doing absolutely nothing. The Bedouin don't panic. They've seen this 1,000 times. A sandstorm isn't an enemy to be defeated. It's a force of nature to be respected, a neighbor that pays an unwelcome but temporary visit. Their movements are quick, efficient, and most surprisingly, calm. It's the calmness of a surgeon, a doctor who has performed the same procedure so many times they could do it in their sleep, or a veteran pilot handling turbulence with a steady hand. Their knowledge isn't from a textbook, it's from their DNA, a genetic memory passed down through 100 generations. They don't fight the storm, they accept it. They don't try to outrun a gale force wind that moves faster than any human. Instead, they become a part of the landscape, a lesson in humility you are about to receive. They become masters of surrender, an art form you in your modern life have never had to practice.
The first defense is a simple piece of cloth, an item you might have once dismissed as a mere accessory or a quaint cultural artifact, the keffiyeh. It is not just a headscarf, it is a suit of armor, a gas mask, and a shield all rolled into one. With a practiced swiftness that defies belief, a blur of motion, they wrap it around their faces and heads. The cloth, woven tightly and thick with years of use, is folded with surgical precision, leaving only a tiny slit for their eyes. The world shrinks to a sliver of vision, a narrow window through which you can watch the world outside go mad. The air, which moments ago felt like a furnace, now feels cool and filtered, a testament to the keffiyeh's genius. It protects you from inhaling the fine, sharp particles of sand and the superheated air, which can scorch your lungs in minutes. It is a humble piece of fabric, but in this moment it is worth more than all the gold in the world. Its touch against your skin is a quiet comfort, a promise of protection, a testament to the fact that the simplest solutions are often the most effective. If you are lucky enough to be in a tent, you will witness a breathtaking transformation. The small, unassuming goat hair tents, which seemed so basic and exposed, suddenly become fortresses. With surprising speed, they lower the sides, working in silent, practiced unison,
using heavy rocks and thick ropes to anchor the walls to the ground. The goat hair fabric, which naturally swells when it absorbs moisture from the air, is naturally resistant to the fine sand, creating an airtight seal that feels impossibly secure. You are no longer in a flimsy shelter. You are in a bunker, a quiet sanctuary in a world gone mad. The tent itself becomes a living thing, a breathing, resilient bubble of safety in the eye of the storm. The wind howls and screams outside, a banshee of 1,000 voices, but inside there is only a muffled, rhythmic roar, a sound that is strangely calming, a constant reminder that you are safe.
But what if there is no tent? What if the storm catches you in the open, miles from any shelter? This is where you see the desert ninja tactic come to life, a testament to a philosophy of survival born from necessity. They will look for the highest point, a dune or a small hillock, not to hide from the storm, but to avoid being buried by the sand that flows downhill. They will dig a shallow trench with their hands, a quick, efficient depression in the loose sand. The goal is not to hide from the sand, but to get low, below the worst of the swirling, abrasive debris. Then, with a casual grace, they will lie down in it, as if settling in for an afternoon nap. Using their keffiyeh, or a blanket if they have one, they cover themselves completely, becoming a part of the ground, a lump of humanity waiting for the world to stop screaming. They become ghosts of the desert, blending in completely with their surroundings. The sand will cover them, burying them under a light insulating blanket of grit, but they do not panic. They lie motionless, listening to the roar of the wind above, their bodies protected from the worst of the abrasive sand. You feel the weight of the sand on your back, the grit between your teeth, but you are not afraid. You are simply waiting. Now I ask you, could you do that? Could you summon the patience to lie still for hours, listening to the wind howl and the sand hammer against your improvised shelter? This is a test not just of your physical endurance, but of your mental fortitude. In this moment, your mind is your most valuable asset. It's a test of faith, a leap of faith into the arms of the desert itself. You are not fighting the storm. You are enduring it. You are accepting your powerlessness and finding strength in stillness. You are practicing a form of meditation born not from a wellness retreat, but from the raw, brutal necessity of survival. The sound of the wind, once a harbinger of doom, becomes a lullaby, a chaotic song that promises you will be safe if you just wait. From the outside, a sandstorm looks like the end of the world. It is a roiling, angry god, blotting out the sun and turning the sky to a malevolent ochre. But to the Bedouin, it is an event, a harsh but temporary reality they have learned to manage. They don't see an apocalypse. They see a challenge they have the wisdom to overcome. The sandstorm is a master teacher, a brutal professor that reminds you of your place in the universe. It is a powerful lesson in perspective, a reminder that your grand plans and your modern anxieties are utterly meaningless in the face of nature's power. You have spent your life trying to control everything, to schedule every minute, to bend the world to your will. The sandstorm laughs at such hubris. It is the ultimate equalizer, the great humbler, a force that asks nothing of you but your surrender. This brings us to the biggest lesson of all, humility.
The sandstorm is a forceful reminder that you are not the master of the desert. The desert is the master, and you can only hope to survive if you are humble enough to accept that fact. This is not about conquest, it is about coexistence. It is a profound, life-altering lesson in letting go, in giving in to a force that cannot be defeated. It's an act of surrender, a recognition that the only way to win is to not fight at all. This is the code of the desert, written in the swirling grains of sand and the howling of the wind. Suddenly, just as it began, the howling fades. The roar of the sand gives way to a gentle hiss, a sigh of resignation. The pressure on your back lifts, and you can see a tiny pinprick of light from the sun struggling to be reborn. A fine layer of grit coats your tongue, but you can see the stars again, a million tiny diamonds scattered across the black velvet. You are safe. You and the Bedouin emerge from your temporary hiding places, dusting yourselves off as if nothing happened. Everything is clean, reset, a fresh start. And in this calm after the storm, you'll discover that the desert, though harsh, holds treasures of its own, waiting to be found.
The last grain of sand settles. The roar is gone, replaced by a quiet so deep it feels like the desert itself is holding its breath. You stand up, your muscles stiff, your body covered in a fine, gritty powder. You and Suleiman brush yourselves off, but it's not the frantic, embarrassed dusting you would do back home after a long day in the yard. It's a casual, almost reverent act, as if you're shedding an old skin, a memory of a weaker version of yourself. The moon, a perfect porcelain plate, hangs in a sky of infinite blackness, and the stars are a city of diamonds, glittering in the clean, newly washed air. The storm is over. The lesson begins. You spent your entire life trying to conquer things, deadlines, traffic, other people. You wanted to win, to dominate, to stand on top of the world with a flag in your hand. But out here, you've learned something profound, something far more valuable than any victory. You can't win against the desert. It is not an enemy to be defeated. It is a force of nature to be understood, to be lived with, and ultimately to be respected. This isn't a battlefield, it's a classroom, and you have just graduated with a degree in humility. You have to let go. That's the first rule of this place. You have to stop fighting. We, in our shiny modern world, believe in control. We try to schedule the sun, to bend the earth to our will. We see a landscape, and our first thought is how to build on it, how to make it ours. We build walls to keep the heat out, turn on air conditioners to cool the air, and construct massive dams to tame the rivers. We see nature as an inconvenience, a problem to be solved, a resource to be exploited. We are the masters, or so we tell ourselves. We try to control everything, from the weather on our phones to the emotions of our friends. But the Bedouin, they know better. They have lived here for thousands of years, not by conquering the desert, but by accepting it. They are the ultimate students of the land, forever learning its moods, its dangers, and its silent promises.
Their humility isn't a weakness, it's a superpower, an armor against the very things that would break you. It is the wisdom to know they are just a small, fragile part of something vast and ancient. This desert is not their possession, it is their teacher, their brutal, beautiful, and honest teacher. They have a deep love for this place, a connection that goes far beyond mere survival. The desert isn't a villain in their story. It's a character, a friend, a home. It is a lover who is demanding, but ultimately endlessly rewarding. It gives them everything they need, but only on its own terms. It offers them solace in the quiet of the night and a fierce challenge in the heat of the day. They respect it, they listen to it, and in return, it allows them to live. Their relationship with the land is a silent covenant, a sacred pact passed down through generations. It is a partnership, not a battle, a negotiation, not a conquest. This is a love story written not with words, but with footsteps in the sand. You've seen the secrets now, the ancient, elegant, and impossibly simple solutions. You've seen how they use a simple piece of cloth, the keffiyeh, to fight the sun and the sand, a single item serving a dozen purposes. You've seen how they turn a simple goat hair tent into a fortress against the wind, each rock and rope a part of a larger, smarter design. You've seen how they find nourishment in the most unlikely of places, from a date palm to a hidden well. Every action they take, every choice they make, has a deeper meaning, a purpose rooted in the brutal honesty of this environment. Their lives are a living, breathing user manual for this world, a testament to the fact that necessity is the mother of all invention, and simplicity is its greatest virtue. You came here looking for an adventure, for a story to tell your friends, but you found a library of lost knowledge. You found a way to live, not just to survive. You found a philosophy that is both ancient and, paradoxically, brand new.
Now, I have to ask you, after this journey, will you ever look at a glass of water the same way again? Will you still complain about the heat of a summer day, or will you remember what 1,000 degrees truly feels like? Will you still take for granted the easy comfort of a soft bed and a full refrigerator, or will you remember what it feels like to earn every single thing you have? This adventure, this story has changed you. It's a truth you can't unlearn. You have seen how a life without distractions, without the constant noise of the modern world, can be so full. The silence of the desert has made you a better listener. The emptiness has made you see the value of what little you have. The humility has made you a better human, a more patient, more observant, more grateful human. The juxtaposition between our two worlds is stark, isn't it? We are a species obsessed with conquest. We've climbed Everest, we've dived to the deepest trenches, we've even sent a machine to Mars. But what have we conquered? We've only pushed nature into a corner, built our kingdoms on its ashes. The Bedouin have proven that the only way to truly win is to harmonize with nature, to become a part of the system, not a master of it. We see a mountain and want to put a flag on it. They see a mountain and want to understand the life that lives on it. We look at the ocean and think of oil rigs. They look at the desert and see a home,
a living entity that breathes and whispers. We see a forest and want to build a road through it. They see a single tree and want to know its story.
These secrets, these rituals, they are a legacy. They aren't written in a book. They are told in stories, passed down from generation to generation, an invisible thread connecting the past to the future. It's a treasure far more valuable than any gold, a gift of survival, a roadmap to living. This is their inheritance, a priceless knowledge that can't be bought or sold. This is a living history, a breathing archive of a people who chose to thrive in a world that others would call a wasteland. Their legacy is not in monuments or great works of art, but in the simple act of carrying a story in their hearts, a story that holds the key to a sustainable, meaningful existence. The true greatness of humanity isn't in our ability to dominate nature. It's in our capacity to adapt and learn from it. Greatness isn't building a skyscraper that scrapes the clouds. It's surviving in an environment the rest of the world deems impossible. It's not in our technology, but in our instincts. Not in our power, but in our patience. It's a greatness born from an honest, brutal, and beautiful struggle to exist. They are the living embodiment of this principle. They have proven that the human spirit is not just a match for the desert. It is a child of the desert, born from the sand and the wind, and destined to live as a part of it. And now you know the code of the desert. It is not a secret to conquer. It is a secret to respect. It is a philosophy that has nothing to do with fancy gadgets or complex theories. It's about listening, about watching, about yielding, about being humble. It is a code written in the stars, whispered by the wind, and told in the stories by the firelight. It is a code that asks you to find your place in the world, not to remake it in your image.
The journey ends here, but the lesson begins now. As you sit by the fire, a lone figure in the vastness of the desert, you realize that you came here a tourist and you are leaving, a student. Suleiman sits across from you, his face a roadmap of a life lived under the sun, his eyes reflecting the distant fire. He looks up, not at you, but at the sky, a quiet smile on his lips. He says nothing. The silence is his final story, his last and most important lesson. He has taught you everything there is to know about the desert without ever saying a word. And in that silence, you understand everything. So when you return to your world of noise and distraction, I hope a part of this code stays with you. I hope you remember the quiet of the desert, the strength of the kafia, and the humility of a people who bowed to the wind and lived to tell the tale. I hope you remember that sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to simply listen, and sometimes the most profound journey is the one that brings you back to yourself. And so, our journey through the desert comes to an end. Thank you so much for listening and for being a part of this adventure with us. Your support through every like, subscribe, and comment is our greatest motivation. See you in the next story.